Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health System's Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
You had a great season last year. It didn't end like you wanted it to, but man, just those late game heroics. Listen, that's how a quarterback's measured. I don't care at any level. Winning games late, people remember you by. You did a fantastic job with that.
Thank you. It was definitely fun to kind of get those wins. Hopefully next year we'll take care of business in the first 3 quarters so it doesn't come to that. But like you said, when you get in that situation, you kind of have to make the most of it. And you know, it's your job as quarterback to get the win at that point in the game.
What's the biggest thing you've worked on this offseason to try to improve your game?
Just getting my arm strength back. I think after my elbow injury and hurt my shoulder, I think, you know, as a passer, I was not as accurate as I wanted to be. I didn't spin the ball like I used to. So I kind of just wanted to get back to where I could go, you know, throw the ball 100 times with a lot of velocity and feel good about it, you know. So I feel like I finally got to that point. You know, hopefully throwing out here, like I feel like, you know, feel great, feel like where I should be. So it's just a matter of, you know, continuing to elevate and get better and then start to work on other stuff, you know, like off-platform throws, throwing on the run, throwing with pressure in your face. That's all next level stuff, but it all starts from the ground level, and I kind of felt like I had to get back there before I started working on other stuff.
Always a lot of pressure on the quarterback for USC, no matter where you had to, but USC especially, because of that lineage throughout the years. And you beat out a guy that starting at Georgia. Injury or whatever, you still got the job.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. But you've handled it very well, and that's a great testimony to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a different experience being in LA and having that, you know, again, like they said.
It's a little different from Arizona.
It is a lot different, but, you know, I like to embrace it. I like to think that, you know, most quarterbacks will kill for the opportunity. So, yeah, I like to think of it as an opportunity to kind of be the guy and be in that high-profile position. You won't be there forever, so you got to make the most of it.
Is there a guy on offense this spring you said, wow, he has really made a big jump from last year to this year?
Mike Jacks had a great, like, at the beginning of spring, he used to learn in the playbook, figuring stuff out, and by the end of the spring, in the spring game, he's making plays, making tough contested catches, you know, scoring touchdowns. So I think that's the guy. Again, you probably didn't see him last year, but from the beginning of spring to end of spring, he made a huge improvement.
I know you've sort of patterned your game Tom Brady, and that's a guy most people will say, hey, that's the guy I want to pattern my game after. What's the biggest thing in watching Brady you'd say, man, I'd like to do like he can, other than win?
That's definitely a good thing. I think the biggest thing about Tom is, you know, Tom's probably not the greatest athlete. He's not like super elusive or mobile, but he's so athletic and good at what he does within the pocket. And, you know, as a guy who, like, I think I'm decently athletic, but I'm not, you know, I'm not running around, I'm not scrambling like crazy. I think that's something where I can kind of take a lot of pride in, like, operating from the pocket. His movement in the pocket and his discipline, you know, and decisiveness of getting the ball out is something like any quarterback can do it, I think. It's just a matter of, you know, being disciplined, and it's all things that you could potentially do regardless of your athleticism. So I think that's something I always kind of pride myself on.
Man, listen, congratulations. We all pulling for you, other than if you play LSU this year, national championship game. You know, come on, you got to cut that. But, man, listen, I think you guys are going to really be really good this year.
Thank you. I think so, too. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Mike Detillier with HTV with Derek King from Miami of Florida. You made the decision to come back this year. You could have turned pro. What was the big part in you deciding to come back for another season?
Yeah, I feel like I had unfinished business. So I wanted to come back, you know, keep getting better. I feel like I didn't play as good as I wanted to last year. I played well, but I feel like I have a lot more left. And, you know, most of my teammates are coming back. So we all kind of decided together to come back and give it another shot.
One of the things, you know, in years past, man, Miami, when you thought about them in the heyday in the late 80s into the 90s, playmakers at quarterback, but really good up front. And you look at the teams that win today, if it's Alabama, Ohio State, Cincinnati, you name them, how has your offensive line evolved from last year to this year?
So I feel like we have a bunch of experience now. So a lot of those guys, it was their first year or second year starting. Everybody's back now. They have a really, really experienced offensive line, and I think those guys are closer together this year. Last year was kind of weird. We had the whole COVID, so we really didn't have camp. We really didn't have off-season workouts, and this year we got all of that. So I think our offensive line is one of the best units in our team this year. So I'm looking forward to playing with those guys.
What's the one thing you've probably worked on the most this offseason to improve your overall game?
It's footwork. So a big thing for me is footwork. Always been always trying to be consistent with your feet work. I'm a guy that can, make plays outside the pocket, and my feet sometimes get out of whack. So working on my footwork all summer, all season was my biggest deal.
In watching you, you remind me so much of Kyler Murray. Your game is very similar to his in his ability not only to throw from the pocket but also throw off the run. And is that a guy that you watch and say, that's who I sort of pattern my game after?
Yeah, Kyler's a great player. He's a year older than me. He's from Texas, so I've been watching him for a long time. He's a really good player. Yeah, and I try to take like little things from him. He's so dynamic in open field and throwing on a run, so I just try to watch that and see what I can do to improve my game.
If there's a player in the spring that you said, wow, he made great improvement from last year at Miami to this year, who would that guy be? Offensively,
probably Keyshawn Smith. He was a young receiver we had last year, and I feel like this spring, this offseason, he made a huge jump, and he's gonna help us out a lot this year.
The name, image, likeness part of the game has now dramatically changed. You guys are involved with it. Your thoughts on that and trying to not only include yourself, but also kind of have everybody inclusive in it, because there could be some hard feelings there.
Yeah, for sure. That's my biggest thing with the whole NIL is to get my teammates involved. So that's what everything I do, I try to get my team, at least 2, 3, 4 of my teammates involved with it. So every company that I talk to, I always try to put my teammates on. And like I said, football is still the main thing. Nobody's going to put NIL and getting sponsored by this company above football. So focusing on football is still the main thing for me, is get my teammates involved.
Man, listen, exciting to watch you play. Great to have you back for another season in college football.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Desmond, a great season last year for Cincinnati, and you guys almost had Georgia beat at the end. Is that part of the focus of, hey, let's finish this out and making sure that final game we taking care of business?
Yes, sir. In our conference, in our team, we really think about winning conference championships, because as a group of 5, obviously without the playoff expansion, isn't really thought of for the national championship. So Coach Fick always preaches to us about conference championships. So our main goal for every season is to get to the conference championship and win championships. And then once we go play the bowl game, that's a bonus and a fun game. But no, we would definitely like to end that game with a win.
Yeah, y'all had them on the ropes.
Yes,
too.
sir.
You had Georgia on the ropes.
Yeah, no, it's clock management at the end. Different, there's a whole bunch of different things that could have happened differently, or that could have been a different outcome for us. But it made us that much hungry in the off season to work and be better. And now we're ready for camp, ready for the season.
I know this is probably in the backdrop for you, but the NFL is watching, so to speak. Your focus this offseason, was it on your footwork and mechanics? Because that seems to be a part of the game that you could have improved on.
For sure. And I feel like, anyone can always improve on mechanics and footwork at any point in their game, no matter if you're in high school, Little League, college, or the NFL. But no, I've been working a lot with Jordan Palmer to work on a lot of the mechanic stuff. Get my front foot in the ground a lot quicker, working with torque in my hips. But I think we should be able to see, a good improvement this year, so I'm excited.
You go to Cincinnati, you're not probably the 4 to 5-star recruit. So that's a chip on the shoulder each and every week. Hey, we're going to show you we can play with the big boys. Does that mentality come from the coach on down?
Oh, for sure. It's a blue-collar program. We don't have the 4 or 5 stars. We might have 1 4-star, 2 4 stars. Everyone else is 3-star and below. But Coach Fick, he always just, puts a chip on our shoulder just to be, that blue-collar, tough and nasty program. It really starts up front with our O-line and D-line. We're an O-line, D-line driven program, and, one of our mottos is tough and nasty. It starts up front, so once the big guys get nasty up front, it kind of just spreads out throughout the whole team, and it's a force to be reckoned with.
Do you try to pattern your game from someone in the pros that you maybe watch a lot of film? And I know you hear the Manning Passing Academy. Peyton did it, and Eli at a different level. Is there somebody that you try to pattern yourself out?
I would say I'm like a good mix between like Deshaun Watson and like a Ryan Tannehill. I think, I'm a good, game manager and, can obviously use my athleticism with my feet and then, to make the plays when plays need to be there with my arm. But yeah, I would say those would be my 2 comparisons. Is
there a guy in the spring that made that huge jump from last year? You say, wait, on offense, that guy could really help us this year.
I'd say Blue Smith, wide receiver. He was hurt, I think a year and a half ago. It broke his foot. It had kind of struggled a little bit, but you know, it's a big 6'4", 215, 218 body out on the outside.
So you can't overthrow him, right?
No, I can't overthrow him. I think he's going to go up and get the ball, and I think he's going to come down with it almost every time. So.
What's the biggest thing you worked on this offseason to improve your game? You know, listen, you play for a gunslinger, and you're sort of a gunslinger yourself, so cutting down on the turnovers was probably the one big area.
I mean, absolutely, and that's just coming to just understanding drop 8. Right. I mean, that's the gist of it, and like the decision making. There was a decision making in the drop 8. That's what was so foreign to me. I didn't know anything about it prior to that, prior to those games, and then after that game, you started seeing everybody doing it, and then it's just something I got better at. But just really, this offseason was a real focus on my leadership, and not only mine, just as a team, not having just one single person telling the same people over and over, telling you to do the right things. You know, it's more of the younger cats now growing up. They're finally starting to grow up, and they're becoming leaders themselves. And I think that plays a big part, because a lot of these kids, you don't get a freshman that comes in and wants to call the shots and tell people what to do. But it's like, if you're in the wrong, you're in the wrong, and we have an understanding of that as a unit and as a team, and just really being on the same page and having that transparency with each other. I mean, it goes much more about much more than football. You know what I mean? Like, we got real life problems, and that's the transparency I'm talking about, just so we can build that bond of that camaraderie that's unbreakable.
Losing Elijah, man, who was great for you last year. I know it's hard to say, well, somebody will take his place. Yeah, nobody in that zip code.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you said it yourself. We're going to have playmakers, definitely. Next man up. That's the mentality, and that's what's going to happen. But there's not going to be another Elijah Moore, and I believe that. But I mean, we're loaded. We're loaded.
Playing for Lane, who, man, he loves to sling it, you know, and he knows when a play's going to work. You see that clipboard up in the air.
Yeah.
And so, from a quarterback standpoint, playing for a guy like Kiffin.
I mean, me and Kiffin, our relationship, it started off slow. I mean, it's just, from what I've heard, it's just how he is. I mean, you just got to really understand him to get him and get what he says and why he says it. But I mean, as the years gone by, or the year gone by with him, I mean, me and him are pretty close, and same with my OC, Jeff Levy, and it's like just having that relationship of just being completely open and honest and having no reason to hide anything, like regardless of what it is, you know, and just having that transparency, like I said before, it creates a bond that trust, you know, and that's what you need between the head coach and quarterback, OC quarterback. You know, they trust me that I'm going to get this 4th and 5, you know.
That final game last year, it driving rain, you guys going up and down the field. From a standpoint of watching, it was great. From your standpoint, man, just give me the ball at the end, and it ended up Jacoby making a play.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it was a blessing, man. That was my first time ever going to a bowl game, and we plan on much bigger things next season, definitely, much bigger.
Well, listen, you're a guy everybody's talking about, not only in college, but you got a career down the road, man. Congratulations to you. You've done a great job.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you hope to pick up when you come here, be around the Mannings, guys that have won Super Bowls, played in the biggest games, and you watched as kids? You know, you watched them and sort of tried to emulate what they could do, especially in the big games.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just a really cool experience being here, being around, you know, so much experience, so much talent here, and just, you know, really trying to take away everything I can mentally, you know, really absorbing a lot of these experiences that I'm hearing from these guys, especially with these peers too, all these other college quarterbacks that are here, getting to learn their experiences. I'm one of the younger guys that are here, so just going to hear some stories and what other kids have been through, and you know, all that is really exciting.
Last year, great highs and also, man, some disappointing lows late in games. Is that the focus this year? But hey, listen, we got to finish off. We got to finish these games and not let it come down to the end where somebody has an opportunity, because, man, you guys could have put a couple of more W's up on the board.
Yeah, definitely. That's been our motto all year long, is good to great. Really just trying to capitalize on those games. You know, you give us the Navy game back if we win that game, our double overtime loss against Tulsa and our overtime loss against SMU, you give us those 3 games, we finish those out, and it's a 9-3 season, which makes a big difference. So that's really just our emphasis right now, is just finishing. Just the culture that our new OC, Coach Long's brought in. A lot of respect for him. A lot of the guys respect him. And, just moving forward, that's our real emphasis.
The changeover with the OC position, you knew Willie eventually was going to get a head coaching job somewhere, bringing in Coach Long. How has that been from an adjustment standpoint from you? Because you're the catalyst now. Everything's got to work with you.
Yeah. In the spring, I wouldn't say it was rough. It was a little difficult in the spring, just because he was putting a lot on our plate. But that's what we do. It's D1 college. That's the opportunities you have. Moving forward through the summer, everything's been going really smooth. So we're just trying to capitalize on that and take advantage of his knowledge. And he comes out there and he busts his butt every single day for us. So we're looking forward to have a good season offensively.
Last year, difficult games maybe didn't finish games off.
Right.
And I think that's got to be the focus in the summer about, hey, listen, we had some teams and we let it sort of get away.
Yeah, I think in the spring we were a great first half team. I think what we have been focused on this summer is becoming a fourth quarter team. We try to implement that in everything we do. When we're out there running, we feel tired, we try to push ourselves that much further. So I think that's going to be a big emphasis for us this upcoming season, becoming a fourth quarter team and closing out some of these games. We started fast a lot of these games and then kind of plateaued off. So that's something that we've been looking forward to kind of get better at, and something that I think definitely going to hit the mark on this season.
Also, too, when you win, the hardest thing is, man, not that you're in Colonel country, but that eye of the tiger.
Right.
Because you can lose it. Man, listen, we came back years ago, we're going to do it again.
Right.
But that focus has to always be there on making that play, no matter what.
Right. Yeah. Just being able to take a win and be able to replicate that and do it again the next week. Something. Just being consistent. A lot of championship teams. That's what we want to be as championship teams. You look at Super Bowl winning teams. The Tampa Bays, the Alabamas. What do? They year in year out they're consistent. They come in. They have the same work ethic, the same drive, but they come in with the same drive, but they go even a step further the next year. So that's what we had to do, kind of week from week, be able to kind of implement what we did last week, but take it, one notch further.
For somebody who has never saw DeJon Dixon, you give him a description of that guy as a wide receiver.
Physical, fast, great route runner, great hips, great hands. He's the type of guy, if it's third and long or fourth and long and I'm in a spot, I'm turning my head to DeJon Dixon, I'm putting the ball up. Big guy, you can put the ball in his area. He's got a great catch radius. Somebody that you're definitely going to see on Sundays. A great leader in the wide receiver room. He comes out and works every day, and you even catch him getting work after the work. So great guy, great work ethic, great mentor. He even trains kids out in the Homer area. They come out to Thibodeau. He instills some of his knowledge that he has that he's used to be a great wide receiver and give it to the youth. So all around great player, all around great human being. And I look very forward to getting to throw to him again this season. I also look very forward to seeing his NFL career and how far he's going to take off.
I had a Pac-12 scout call me. He's double checking. And he was like, is he good? I was like, you better use another term. Yeah. He's beyond good. Yeah. And the stuff about 50-50, when you throw it up, 50-50 ball, it's 75-25
right.
with him.
Kind of 80-20, I never feel worried when the ball's in the air with him. And until that Pac-12 scout to back off, he's our guy. But he's definitely someone you can throw the ball up to and not have to worry about it coming down to other hands or being incomplete, Anytime I throw the ball up, I feel good when it's going to DeJon Dixon.
And you can turn around and hand it to the big guy, too. I mean, he has been a big stud here and carries so much of the load for you running the football. Because even in today's game of throwing the ball all over, you got to be able to run it when you need to and have to. Right. He can do it for you.
We got two great running backs in Julian Gums and John Carrington. Very kind of a thunder lightning type punch. Julian, will give it to him. He's a great downhill runner, not afraid to drop his shoulder, and then we can give it to John, who's got a little bit more speed and take off. So, definitely some guys that, in third and short and in short yards, they can manage those downs to kind of get us where we want to be. So.
One of the things is when you follow a guy that sort of set the pace at a school like what Chase did, you got to be a special guy. Yeah. You got to be able to accept the fact people are going to look at you and say, you got to do it like what Forte did. Right. you've handled that really, really so well.
And obviously, you know, Chase has done a lot for this program, and it's been really good being able to have him in my corner. You know, Chase and I, we've known each other since high school, so, you know, coming into Thibodeau where, you know, I wasn't really familiar with the area, I was able to ask him a lot of questions, and in a sense, he was my mentor kind of when I kind of took the reins. So he's done a great job with this program, and, you know, I just hope to be able to kind of, you know, mimic just half the things he's done for this program.
And listen, you've done a great job. But I think this season going to be special. Man, y'all in Southeastern are going to fight it out.
Yeah,
you're going to fight it out and do it twice this year.
Yeah, I get 2 times to kind of redeem myself, so excited to play for that River Bell twice.
Thanks so much, man. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. One more thing. Shout out to my O-line. Love y'all.